Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the White Coat Ceremony of St. George's University School of Medicine, Class of 2029. I would like to recognize the presence of Dr. Charles Monica, Chancellor of St. George's University, Dr. Marius Lucas, President of St. George's University and Dean of the School of Medicine, Dr. Mark Clunas, Interim Provost and Senior Associate Dean of Basic Sciences of the School of Medicine, Dr. Nadia Solomon, our keynote speaker, Dr. Lucy Clunes, Vice President of Student Affairs and Senior Associate Dean of Student Affairs for the School of Medicine, Dr. Anthony Andel, Vice Provost for Academic Quality and Strategic Progress, Dr. Callum McPherson, Dean of the School of Graduate Studies, the Vice Presidents, Associate and Assistant Deans, Chairs, and Heads of Departments within the St. George's University School of Medicine, other faculty members, staff, specially invited guests, families, and most especially our students. It is such a privilege for me to stand here before you as an alumna of St. George's University School of Medicine and as your Master of Ceremonies. I still remember the feeling of pride, anticipation, and yes, the nerves that I had during my white coat ceremony many, many moons ago. This ceremony is a defining milestone for you, a moment when you're formally welcomed into the medical profession and entrusted with the values of compassion, integrity, and lifelong learning. As you put on your white coats today, please remember that they're more than a symbol of knowledge. They represent your commitment to compassion, to service, professionalism, and also the trust that your patients are going to place in you as physicians. Today marks the beginning of a journey that will challenge you. Yes, it will also inspire you, and ultimately it will shape you into the physicians you are destined to become. I'd like to share a brief history of the ceremony with you. In 1993, the Arnold P. Gold Foundation created the White Coat Ceremony at Columbia University's College of Physicians and Surgeons to promote humanism in medicine. With guidance from the Gold Foundation, St. George's University School of Medicine initiated its own White Coat Ceremony in 1996, long before many other U.S. medical schools. In 2003, the Gold Foundation founded the Gold Humanism Honor Society, an international society dedicated to the promotion of humanism, professionalism, and ethics in medical practice and in medical education. Sadly, Dr. Gold passed away at the age of 92. He was an international advocate for humanism in healthcare, and we are honored to have hosted him and his wife, Sandra, as keynote speakers for our 2005 White Coat Ceremony. St. George's chapter of the Gold Humanism Honor Society is based in the Department of Clinical Skills and is supported by the Dean of Medicine's office. Our chapter established the Humanitarian Student Organization in 2009, through which our basic sciences students, that's you guys, promote humanism across the St. George University and Grenadian communities. Chapter members are nominated by their peers and inducted during their clinical training when they participate in an ongoing chapter project, which I'm hoping that many of you will be part of that process. It is now my pleasure to welcome to the podium Dr. Charles Monica, our Chancellor.
I thought I was going to be next, so I'm not prepared. It's a joke, trust me. Hi, I'm the founding Chancellor of St. George's University. That means, if you don't understand it fully, that's how I got my job. I helped found the university. It's okay, nothing wrong with that. I get very inspired by these ceremonies. I flew down yesterday on JetBlue, and I've got a flight that's running on time today. I wish it was later, but whatever. They had to be on time today, right? And I'm leaving. I'm here for 24 hours. The reason I need so much to look at you, I'm an Italian guy, getting older, it gets worse, in the eye, is because, you know that song, I Was Once Like You Are? I forget the name of that singer, you know, and marching through time. And I wanted to be a doctor. I announced that to my mom in high school. My mom and dad met at Abraham Lincoln High School in Brooklyn, New York, the son and daughter of immigrants, you know, and there was a little bit of a melting pot, as they say. And they got married, moved out to Long Island, and my dad started building, did real well as a builder and developer. And long story short, it's already too long, I know. I announced to my mom when I was in high school that I thought I wanted to become a doctor. And not recognizing the significance of that little thing when you come home and having a piece of chocolate cake. And I saw the tears out of her eyes. Oh, my God, you know, that kind of thing. She was really, really happy, let me tell you. So I went to college. I was pre-med. There was no other choice. Once I said that, look out, there was no turning back. And I was a baby boomer. We call ourselves baby boomers because we were right after World War II. Parents came home and things happened and people, you know, how it works. And so the unfortunate part of being a baby boomer is there were so many seats in med school, and already at that time, about a quarter of the doctors in the U.S. were foreign trained, mostly foreign born. So when I went to apply, we had the baby boomer thing going on, and there were 20,000 U.S. seats and 45,000 applications. And you might say, well, I guess the other 25,000 weren't qualified. Yeah, right. They didn't have enough seats. So I went off applying to U.S. schools. I think it was about 20. I think the average today is still about 15. You know, it was one of those things. I got an interview in Chicago and not much action. Got the last letter of, you know, sorry, not enough seats for you. And I went to Spain because I wasn't going to let that dream go. I went to Spain. Mom was still happy. Spain's fine. There's 10,000 students went to Europe that year and Mexico in the 1970. That's when I went. Seems like a long time ago, doesn't it? I feel like George Washington when I see you guys, you know? It's like, and you're looking at me like, yeah, he is. I hope he's not going to be much more long-winded, but it's significant. And the reason I tell you this story is I went through selectivo. That's what they call the first year in Spanish medical schools. And selectivo replaced a certain acronym that you know. Is it the MCAT? Yes, I think you know that exam, yeah. It was a lot fairer. Instead of being nervous and having, you know, so many hours to prove yourself to the world, and we've had kids with 3.99 GPAs come down here, but they had a low MCAT. We had people with a high MCAT and low GPA, and they go, well, obviously, that student could have done better in college. They're just lazy. They have all ways of interpreting these things, okay? But at the bottom line is I went to Spain in selectivo. About a third of the students flunked out the first year, but you had to stay a year to figure that out. Translated everything. Spanish was not my native language, trust me. And, well, I got my summer report came back, aprobado, and in Spanish that means you're approved to keep going. My mom, more tears of joy that summer. But I was kind of hoping I might not be aprobado, to be honest, because I already knew I wasn't going back. That's why I have the admiration and respect for all of you. It was hard. Not just because you had to translate, memorization 101, you know, they talk about artificial intelligence and all that. This is the intelligence I still buy into, medicine. And I announced to my mom I wasn't going back, you know, Italian second generation. And that summer I held back for a while. I didn't want to tell her right away. And she took it pretty well for an Italian mom, you know, first in college and everything. You know, she cried for about 2 weeks. And I'm not kidding. Went to Mass every day instead of just Sunday for those 2 weeks to pray that I would change my mind. And the bottom line is my grandfather came out for a visit. She brought in the big guns during the week, not Sunday dinner. This was serious stuff that summer. And the essence of the story is that I cried. I said, I just don't want to go back. I see you're aprobado. You're going back. No, it's not for me, Grandpa. It's too much. I give up. He goes, all right. I'll never forget. He kind of looks down, looks up, and he says, okay. you'll be a lawyer. Trust me, I had not considered this yet, I would have said yes to anything at that point. I said, that's a good idea, Grandpa. I'll be a lawyer. Let's go back and tell Mom. We went back home, knocks at the door. Dolly, that's what he called my mom, Dolly. I got some good news and some bad news for you. The bad news is my grandson, he won't go back to medical school. The good news, he's going to be a lawyer. She started to cry, and then she stopped and said, all right, a lawyer. And the reason I tell this story is I was not a pre-law student. We called my uncle a big judge in New York with the news, and the news was, get him into law school quick. I got into law school, no pre-law, nothing else other than I'm going to be a lawyer, and that's a way to get out of this other thing. It's got to be easier than medicine, and that's where it comes to you guys. There's a baby around, right? That's cool, yeah. That's great. I like that, actually. It makes it more lively, because I'm not doing so well. So anyway, I go to law school, right? Here's this guy. And in between, by the way, I wrote a book on how to get into foreign schools because a lot of people are getting ripped off with placement agencies to go to the school I went to just by doing a lot of paperwork to get in. So I wrote a guide, $8.95. That's in 1971 now, and that's a lot of money. The guy was like this thick, but it saved people like almost $1,000 in agency fees. The guide sold well. I wrote to every college about why they don't need agencies, tell your pre-med students if they can't get in, blah, blah, blah. So life was good. And I was in law school with my book, lots of income, bought a Corvette, a nice yellow Corvette, yeah. And life was good. And I got to tell you, I studied hard, but I didn't feel I was studying that hard. But after medical school, and I didn't know what law school was even all about. It's case law. I didn't know that. Even when I got in, I had no idea. Wasn't pre-law. We know what case law is. You read short stories, a bunch of facts, the application of the law, and a decision. Sometimes the cases were 3 or 4 pages, sometimes 12 at the most. I can do this, right? So out of 300 students, and I say this not to pat myself on the back, but to let you know what you're about to do and the respect I have for you. Out of 300 students in law school in my first year, I was number 1 in my class, okay? That lets you know what studying law is like compared to studying medicine. You're about to go the harder route. I'm not trying to talk you out of it. We don't have a law school here, so. But that's why I have my respect that I have for you and admiration, having founded this place. And by the way, because of the book, I would go to college campuses on weekends, doing well in law school, I could do whatever I want. Had that nice Corvette, too. And 20 or 30 students in the pre-med club would come to a meeting, and they would organize it, have a bunch of books there and talk about med school. There was always a first question, I'll never forget it, and that's what inspired me. Some guy, usually a sophomore or junior, but by the time they were senior, they knew the gig. You're going to go to Europe in a foreign language. And somebody would always say, what schools in English can we go to? It was like, that's a different planet, guys. You're here because if you don't get into the U.S., you're going to have to go to Europe or Mexico, and that's where it's happening, Get over it. And one day, it was nice. That Corvette was a really sweet car. They just kind of purr along. I'm going back from one of my meetings, and I'm going like, I know how all this worked. I wrote a book on how to get into foreign schools. I know how the mechanisms work. All I needed is an independent country that is English speaking to give me a charter, and I could start a school. It's amazing how when you're young you can oversimplify everything. But hey, we're here, right? So I wrote to every English-speaking country in the world. We didn't have Google. This is like, I'm near George Washington at the time. So I went to the library, English-speaking. You get the World Atlas. They'll give you native language. Okay. And everybody got a letter from the Foreign Medical School Information Center. That was my DBA for publishing the book. Your country has been selected for inclusion in a feasibility study for a new international medical school that will primarily cater to U.S. students, blah, 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 waiting for a letter back. I had literally a shoebox on my desk in law school because it wasn't big enough for a file cabinet yet for return answers, right? Shoebox was half empty, okay? I had been doing this for like 6, 7 months. waiting for letters, and it's snail mail, but, you know, no mail is even worse than snail mail. And so one day I get back from class. This is like that Back to the Future moment, you know, where everything happens and all that good stuff. And I did not get the Wilmington, Delaware Evening Journal every day. It's a newspaper that we had there. We would not be here today if I hadn't got that paper. So be thankful I picked it up that day on the way home. So I had given up. I needed an independent English-speaking country that could grant me a charter. I knew from my book that's how it works. The UN accepts that. Those credentials allow you to take the ECFMG exam to practice. This I knew from my book, right? So in the bottom right-hand corner, and I lost the paper, by the way, and for years people used to say, this guy makes stuff up. He's got to be, you know. Well, I had a good friend who worked for Fox News. She's a Democrat. No offense to the Republicans here. But there was a show, The Long and the Short of it. Her name was Ellen Ratner. She was the shortest, very untall woman, and she was with a fellow who was extremely tall. And they had a show for the first 2 or 3 years of Fox News. And Ellen and I were very close buddies. And so one day on our way between Washington and New York for the studios, Ellen was gay, and her partner became one of our students, fast forward 20 years or so. And Ellen stops in Wilmington off the train, didn't tell me she's going to do this. And she said, you always talk about these stories. I had personal meetings and meals with them. They were very close friends. And she said, I stopped to get that paper. You always said you lost it and everything. She said, and I knew you're being truthful, but I figured I can get it off microfiche. She got it, okay? So I got to have bragging rights like this is real. And it was right where I said, in the bottom right-hand corner. And it was a snippet. In the world today. Why did I glance down there? I have no idea. I'm in law school, and the study's not going well. I told you about the half-empty shoebox, I think, earlier. And the tiny, no problem with that, nation of Grenada received independence from Great Britain, okay? You don't have to do a lot of fast forward. Great Britain, got to be English speaking. Why didn't they get a letter from me? They're not independent. I couldn't get a charter. But they were 24 hours eligible into a charter at that point. So I went all out. And again, because I'm George Washington to you, in those days you can't Google, you can't email, you can't do much of anything except snail mail. But if you really want to get something done, come on. You can spend 50 cents a word, and you go to Western Union and send a telegram. So the Foreign Medical School Information Center writes to Grenada. And the woman that received it was with the Prime Minister, still alive today. She was with me. When you come to the campus, I'm half embarrassed but half proud to have my name out there now. That just was last year that we did that. So at the ceremony, Gloria is still alive. Gloria Payne was the assistant to the PM. She wrote the telegram back. So here's what happens. The Foreign Medical School Information Center wishes to congratulate the nation of Grenada on its recent independence, 24 hours ago. Hey, that's recent. As a newly independent nation, Grenada is eligible for inclusion in the ongoing feasibility study. That was the half of my shoebox I've alluded to, for a new international medical school. Hey, I was all out. Forget snail mail, telegram here, official. Well, you know what? A week later, I come back from class. I'll never forget the magic moment, and you won't understand this part either, but there was a yellow envelope sticking out from the door. That yellow was Western Union. And I'm going like, oh my God, because I had been waiting each day, hoping, A week later, it seemed like eternity, I see the yellow envelope. I pull it out, I didn't even open the door. And I got to tell you, I said, this can't be that they're not interested, right? Open it up. The nation of Grenada wishes to be included in the feasibility study. There's a place in the shoebox for you, baby, let me tell you. What next steps must we take to be included? Trust me, the telegram did it all. We don't need any more steps than that. And that's the reason I talk about that story is it's the genesis of the school. Now, I'm still in law school, as I mentioned. So I broke the news to my mom and dad. I hadn't mentioned anything about a feasibility study. It's only half of a shoebox. And I called my dad and said, Dad, I got some great news. He goes, you're doing great in law school. What else could it be? I go, well, I've been doing this feasibility study. He goes, on what? He knew nothing about it. I told him the idea. I got the telegram back. That's all I needed to get full charge. And he was, second generation Italian, so he didn't have the accent, but he goes, son, I have 2 words for you. I go, great, what, Dad? You're crazy. At least he's an honest guy, So that night I was like, oh boy, this is going to be a hard sell. I need to get him and some of his business buddies to kind of fund this thing, I had the Corvette, but I didn't have millions. And all of a sudden, I chose the more diplomatic route. So you got to think outside. Call Mom. Mom, anything wrong? No, everything's great, still doing great in school. But Dad really kind of put me down. I had this great idea, and I explained it all to her. And she had 2 words, too, for me. That's wonderful. So she worked with my dad. I got him to think about this. He and his business buddies came down to Grenada about 10 times. They wouldn't let me come in because I'm 26 years old at the time, They weren't going to let me get on a plane to try to impress anybody. And, but they came down. We got a charter. It took over 2 years to get the charter from that telegram. And I put together the school. We got the charter in August of '76. That's why next year's our Golden Jubilee and all that, the 50-year thing. So we finally get the charter. I'm waiting and waiting. I had just graduated law school by this time. And I didn't want to take the bar because I was hoping for this thing to happen. And I never did take the bar. I got that JD and I got a lot of other doctorates later on. But I got to tell you, when I think about it now, with all the when we have a new program, like we have an MPH, we had the vet school, and with all due respect to the faculty, I love them, I mean that. They think things out much better than some certain crazy people. Oh, that would be me, yeah. So in 5.5 months from the charter, I had 200 students here, a faculty of 6, ready to go. And you might say, well, they must have been proud. I'm sure they had a lot of these facilities, and there's not one brick of one building that's here today that was then. All open air. We didn't have air conditioning, which was good because we hardly had electricity, which, part of your tuition goes to our electric bill, and it's $1 million. $1 million. And that's not a year, it's a month. Yeah, literally. A lot of lights. And so the idea is we were very primitive. And to conclude, because I know you're saying, please let this guy get out of here. To conclude, they had nothing here, but they had what you have. They had a spirit. They had a desire. They wanted to alleviate pain and suffering in others' lives. They wanted to make a difference in the world. I used to tell them, you're going to double the world pass rate on the boards. And they had respect for me. I don't know why. I was 2 years older than the average age of the class when we were down here. But I always told them the truth of my story about Spain. And I said, you'll double the pass rate. Come on, you're studying in English. We're using U.S. faculty and textbooks. We'll double it. The pass rate on the boards then was 33% outside the U.S. So I got an award from the second class. I never promised more than I can deliver award. I was always careful about that because once you lose credibility, it's hard to have people believe in you. And they believed in me because I believed in them. So we took the national boards. And by the way, the book's coming out in January about this whole thing. It took 10 years to write. And the cover is great. We decided the cover photo had to show the school. Hey, a lot of money and time to put this thing together. So the bottom of the cover is the university. The top, they picked out one of the photos that was going to be inside of 6 students from the charter class carrying me dripping wet out of the water at Grand Anse Beach. It's a black and white photo, George Washington days, I guess. And that's on the top half of the cover. And the name of the book is Docs, D-O-C-S, not D-O-C-K-S, Docs on the Bay. And the author who did the book with me said that's the warmth and fuzzy part of this story. And that photo, where did that come from? It was only thrown in Grand Anse Bay once, all time. We got the national board results. I had said, I think you can double the world pace rate. That's 66. We had 79.8. I wanted so bad to have 80. Yeah. That's a charter class. It was the second highest pass rate in the world that year for a foreign school. The only school that beat us was Sackler. So I got to tell you, that charter class had every reason in the world not to succeed. If you were looking for a reason to go home and give up or anything else, you know Murphy's Law, what can go wrong, will go wrong. Well, down here we developed O'Toole's theorem. And O'Toole's theorem is Murphy was an optimist. Everything went wrong. Lights, water. If we had a day without a problem, it was like you maybe overslept or something. But the good news is those students were a lot like you, babe. You know that song? And you're like I was when I wanted to become a doctor that first year. You want to do it. You have the resolve to do it, the wherewithal to do it. And we know for sure now, that class came in, from all over the place, but did we know what we were doing in picking them or anything else? No, hardly not. But we couldn't hold back what they had within them. That desire, that resolve to get things done, to prove themselves. They proved themselves to the world. It was always about the students here. Not about the crazy founding or anything else. It was about the people that came here. And now we're going to end a half-century mark. And the beauty of that is I get to see you now, and hopefully, as I get older, you always say that. I'll be around at 29. I'll be the guy on the stage handing you a diploma, referring to you as doctor for the first time, as I hand you that. Yeah. So if you want to know why I have respect for you, I've lived it. I've seen 50 years worth of classes come down here. And you got, yeah. And it may not be that easy studying, but from the classes before, you're going to do real well. We are the largest supplier of doctors in the United States of America now, and I wouldn't have believed that 50 years ago. I knew we could double the world pass rate on the boards. And your family and friends that are here, this is not a good day. This is a great day. You have no idea how great these people are, and God bless them all. So I'm going to get the hook right now. The going is good. But it's such an honor to be here and watch you get white-coated. And I hope to see you. We're going to have a reception up top at Lewis and Marion Modica, my parents' hall, up top. And if you want to do any photos of me, I love it, just so you know. My best friend in Florida is a former NFL great and football player. So whenever we're out, I'm his photographer, and people always want to take pictures with him. So this is, we kid around whenever I'm coming down. He goes, Charlie, it's going to be your day down in Grenada. I go, no. I go, I know, Joe. I'll be back on Monday. We'll do our thing. But I love taking pictures with you, shaking your hands and letting you know I really meant what I said. Yeah. They're really great. They're really great. God bless you.
Good afternoon. I'm just going to pull this a little closer. Chancellor Modica, President Lucas, Dr. Nadia Solomon, Matthew, Vice Presidents, Deans, my fellow administrators, guests from the SAS, SGS, and SVM, a warm welcome to the Fall 2025 School of Medicine White Coat Ceremony. My first order is to thank parents, brothers, sisters, children, partners, family. You're all here to support our aspiring physicians today. And without you, many of them would have had a harder struggle to get here today. We're proud to welcome you to Grenada, to a beautiful part of the world, and to the SGU family. St. George's University is 49 years old. And as we prepare to celebrate the 50th anniversary, and we'll be celebrating it with you, of course, because you will be here, that's the 50th anniversary of our Chancellor's vision, brought to life here in Grenada. You're becoming part of a proud tradition, the single largest contributor of physicians to North America, an alumni base of 24,000, students from more than 140 countries, a clinical network that spans from the East Coast to the West Coast of the USA. We're present in the UK, in Canada, and of course right here in Grenada. But last night at dinner, Chancellor Modica told me that if you're hit by a car in New York City, there's a 1 in 20 chance it'll be a graduate from SGU that treats you. We've made an impact across the world. Now, each year at graduation, we celebrate the Gold Humanism Awards, and those are the pins you're wearing today. Dr. Bob Grant, who you've not met yet, he reminds us of the 5 H's of humanism. That's honesty, humility, hustle, humor, and happiness. And if you're watching Bob online, that's a 64 in Scrabble. Remember that score. So I'm thinking of today's ceremony. This, of course, is white coat, so I had to come up with the 5 W's of white coat. Wisdom. Go beyond memorized facts. Weave together knowledge, but also clinical experience, ethical judgment, along with the knowledge of people and peoples, not just the person, but peoples themselves, how they live, where they work, what they do, how they express themselves. Wisdom's more than knowledge. It's knowledge expressed in the countless ways in which we live, work, play, and care within human community. It's social, it's political, it's systems of healthcare. It's not just the facts about organ systems, it's about the patient and the environment in which they live. It's the ecosystem in which that patient lives. Workmanship. Approach your craft with precision, discipline, and pride. Do things the right way, even when no one is watching. Warmth. Let compassion and listening be as reliable as your stethoscope. Listen to your patient's voice with the same care that you will when you listen to their hearts with your stethoscope. Patients will never know how well you scored in your OSCE for detecting an S3 gallop, but they will remember being heard by you. Wonder. Stay curious, question assumptions, celebrate discovery. Ask questions. Medicine never stops growing, and neither should your sense of awe at your privilege to be doing the work that you're doing. And the last W, any guesses? Somebody got it in one at the last one, right? Wellness. Guard your own health and well-being. Burnout heals no one. Find balance and remember that your health is tied to your patient's health care. A sense of purpose and meeting your purpose will help guard against burnout. Physicians work hard. Many people work hard across the world. Hard work doesn't create burnout, but certainly hard work along with losing a sense of purpose does create burnout. So wisdom, workmanship, warmth, wonder, wellness. Bob, that's 72 on Scrabble, so you're going to have to raise the bar at the next white coat ceremony. But let's get back to purpose. Cultures all have an idea on how to define purpose. The Japanese speak of a concept, ikigai, that which makes life worth living. And it's the intersection of 4 ideas: what your passions are, what you're good at, you've got to be good at what you're passionate about, what people need, and the final and interesting one is what you can make a living at. So at the center of those 4 domains lies purpose in life. Aristotle called it eudaimonia, human flourishing, reaching your potential, aligning your path with true nature. And that true nature is defined by virtue, reason. But importantly, Aristotle wasn't just an idle philosopher, it was activity. You had to apply that to a situation. It was activity of all those elements. In Britain, we use the word calling. Germany, Berufung. In Africa, Ubuntu. And I love this one because it's I am because we are. It speaks to the necessity of harmony because you're part of something bigger than you. Even the Native American traditions, the Cherokee, speak of tohi, which is the right path with balance. The Navajo of hojo, harmony, beauty, and peace. Across cultures, purpose always blends 2 things: your place and care for other people, as well as your own self-fulfillment. But purpose is not a passive gift. It's discovered, shaped, earned through expression of you and your choices. For those of you who know me, we can never get far without mentioning Latin, but faber est sue quisque fortunae. You are the architect of your own fortune. May you build well with wisdom, workmanship, warmth, wonder, and wellness. And may your white coat fit not just your shoulders, but also your sense of purpose. My congratulations to you all this morning. And I'd like to introduce our President, Dr. Marius Lucas, President and Dean of the Medical School.
Congratulations, class of 2029. We're very happy and honored to have you here with us, but more importantly, because you trusted your education with us. St. John's University's mission and vision is to address the worldwide physician shortage. We have been done that for the last 49 years, and we are the #1 providers of physicians in the United States with over 24,000 active alumni right now. As Dr. Kloon says, hopefully you will not be hit by a car, but if you need to be treated by somebody in New York, the chances is that 1 out of 20 physicians will be one of our graduates. You're also a very lucky class because next year signifies our 50th anniversary. 1976 was when we officially established St. George's University, and 1977, it was when we had our first charter class. So that means our 50th anniversary spans among 2 years. So that means we're going to have 2 years of parties, celebrations, all the good stuff that medical students wants to know. So having said that now, I'm going to share with you some thoughts since Dr. McCloon's mentioned very interesting things. I would like to share some interesting thoughts with you very, very short. So, number one, everybody wants to work with somebody who is happy, smiley, with positive attitude. So one of the very important things that we as physicians do is we try to be very supportive, and our body language portray that by being very positive and very happy. If you're not one of these people, try to fake it, and after a couple of years becomes a habit, and you're becoming a very nice, happy person. Number two, physicians, they never work alone. We always work with other people, right? Same with you in medical school. You have to work with other people. That means faculty. You have to work with your colleagues. And many times will be challenging times. Those challenging times, seek out for help. Sometimes it doesn't have to be a challenge. You scored 95 in your exam, and you want to score 100, so seek out for help to get that extra 5%. So very, very, very important. Maturity, it will be portrayed by seeking out for help and try to find coaches, mentors, a whole system that will help you out to become better. The third one is you're not alone in this big journey to become a physician. You have loved ones, you have parents, you have family, you have friends, dogs, cats, whatever you can imagine. Please reach out to them. You're not alone. I have a 20-year-old, I'm a dad too, so I have a 20-year-old daughter. Her birthday is today, by the way. So she's calling me because back in my days in medical school, I had to go and find a phone with a card and call my parents. My God. Right now, it's very easy to contact, to be in constant communications. Please do that. We worry more than you can imagine, right? I worry 100 times more than my daughter worries, right? If she's going to do well in her class, if she's going to eat what she needs to eat, and so forth. Just I'm a dad, please do the same. Call your parents. It's very important. And last one, the very good news. We have AI. AI is the #1 growing sector in humanity right now when it comes to business and worldwide. It's going to eat up so many jobs. Well, we're very, very lucky because AI will not affect your jobs in the near and the far future. Medicine is from the very few professions that AI will be a great tool, but people will need more and more our human contact. Medicine is one of the very few professions that human contact is essential. So as you can imagine, your investment right now is going to pay a lot of dividends both to humanity and to you multiple times over and over again. So you're in the right profession. You look great. I'm sure I'm going to see you around the campus, definitely during graduation, to shake your hands. And hopefully, when you become physician and attending, you can treat me and be one of your patients. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much to our esteemed speakers. And it's now my pleasure to introduce Dr. Nadia Solomon, our keynote speaker today. Dr. Nadia Solomon, MD, MSc, and MA, is a clinical fellow in the section of emergency and trauma radiology at Yale School of Medicine, a PhD candidate in the investigative medicine program with the Yale Graduate School of Arts and Sciences, and a city medical examiner and forensic radiologist for the New York City Office of Chief Medical Examiner. After graduating from St. George's University in 2019 with her MD and an MSc in tropical medicine, Dr. Solomon completed her medical internship at Elmhurst Hospital in Queens, New York, and her radiology residency at Yale, where she participated in the ABR Holman Research Pathway and served as a chief resident. She also holds an MA in forensic psychology from John Jay College of Criminal Justice. With her current research focusing on postmortem and forensic imaging applications, Dr. Solomon's goal is to advance forensic radiology as a distinct subspecialty in the United States by strengthening support for medical examiners' offices nationwide, fostering academic and clinical collaborations across disciplines, both national and international, as well as establishing dedicated training programs to promote its growth. She hopes that we can use forensic imaging and radiology pathology correlation to promote justice, expand our understanding of disease pathophysiology, improve the accuracy of mortality statistics, and other data that currently drives public health efforts. Again, please join me in welcoming to the stage Dr. Nadia Solomon.
Everyone. It's crazy to be here. I feel like I graduated in 2019, and it feels like it was yesterday. 2014 is when I started, and that also feels like it was yesterday, but it wasn't, and a lot has changed since I've been back here, but all really good. But it's great to be back, and I'm so happy to be addressing all of you guys. And please forgive me as my heart beats out of my chest, and I hopefully don't stumble over my words too much, because please remember that I'm a radiologist. I hide in the dark. I don't interact with people. So this is a lot of people, But I'm very friendly. I don't bite unless provoked, and and if you have any questions later, or if you want to come find me and say hi, please do. Especially if you want to do radiology. Or forensic path, especially. And just to echo what Dr. Lucas was saying about AI, if anybody tells you that AI is going to take over radiology, they are wrong, and they don't understand anything about radiology. So please, be very careful whose advice you listen to or who tells you things, because most of the time, if they're making statements like that, they don't know. So, in any case, all of you, everyone in this room has something very specific in common. And I'm not referring to the arguably masochistic desire to dedicate more than a decade of your life to education and training, and then the rest of your life to caring for others. That's a relatively common thing among physicians, regardless of where you go to medical school, right? But in this room at St. George's University, you share a more interesting commonality. I guarantee that each and every one of you, at one point or another, has been underestimated. For some of you, it could have been by admissions committee of other medical schools. For others, it may have been former college professors, or maybe you were underestimated by peers or colleagues or even friends or family. Hopefully not, but who knows. And I'm sure you're all very excited to start this journey. But I am sure that even amongst that excitement, some of you are still sitting here, and in the back of your head, you're still wondering, did I make the right decision? Can I really do this? So my journey with St. George's, it started very much the same as yours, although to some of you it may be more or less relatable. It wasn't until after college at NYU that I decided I wanted to become a doctor. And that was after deciding during college that I absolutely did not want to become a doctor. I dropped out of my pre-meds my freshman year of college. I deviated to psychology. And I was like, why do I have to look at C. elegans worms? What relevance does this have? This makes no sense to me. I'm doing something else. And it wasn't until after I finished college that I started a forensic psych master's program at John Jay. I started working for a forensic psychiatrist in Manhattan. And it hit me. I was meant for forensic medicine. I didn't know what that was prior to that point, but once I found it, it was like a light. I was, oh my gosh, this is it. This is for me. So a semester into my master's, I re-enrolled at NYU in the pre-med post-bac program. It didn't really occur to me that re-enrolling in a weed-out pre-health program may not be the best move, but I'm sure there are plenty of people here who had a similar experience. From there on, completing my post-bac and my master's simultaneously was somewhat of a juggling act. I managed to come through with decent, albeit imperfect, grades. But moving between two universities had granted me diverse and interesting research opportunities and other unique experiences. So I found that I loved research, and I became dead set on applying to MD, PhD programs. As I'm sure you can imagine, that didn't go so well. I ended up being rejected from more than 30 MD, PhD, MD, DO, and PhD programs before I finally applied here. I remember emailing one school for feedback on my application, and the admissions counselor, in addition to commenting on my grades, had said, well, you've done a lot of forensics, and it wasn't said with a good connotation, and it gets in your head. Sometimes it's really difficult to help. Between numerous failures, negative feedback, there were so many times before and during medical school that I found myself deeply, deeply questioning my choices, my goals, and my own capabilities to achieve them. And having said that, I'm sure you're all thinking, what is happening with this speech? I thought the white coat speaker was supposed to be uplifting and inspiring. Why is she talking about all of her errors and failures and mistakes? And I'll tell you why. Because this is something really important that I want to impart to all of you, is that failure is a normal part of the process. Failure is normal. And experiencing failure, it does not keep you from achieving success. A failure is not the end of the road. It's a speed bump, a hurdle. It's just a part of it. I failed a million times in my life, more than I can possibly get into in a single speech. And whether it's because of my failures or for totally unrelated reasons, I've also been underestimated consistently. And I could have let it go to my head, and I could have let it derail me. But instead, today, as you heard, I stand in front of you as a Yale radiology and fellowship-trained emergency and trauma radiologist, a former chief resident, a PhD candidate at Yale, and the first radiologist to be hired by the city of New York as a medical examiner. Thank you. So my point ultimately being, if I can fail and fail and fail and fail and fail again and again and still achieve my goals from the same position, the same seat you are in right now, with a little modification, I hated sitting up here, I was always in the back, then you can do it too. You have the drive, the hunger, the ambition, the dedication. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. And St. George's has given you a chance. St. George's gave us a chance by opening a door that others slammed in our faces. And especially here in Grenada, what a unique and beautiful experience it's going to be. I won't lie to you, though. It's going to be a difficult process, and you're going to struggle. As you embark on this journey, I want to offer you a few choice pieces of advice. First, treat medicine like you're jumping hurdles. Even though you know your ultimate goal is the finish line, focus on the hurdle immediately in front of you. Whether it's a course grade, your BSCE, your OSCE, your USMLE, your residency application, if you try to jump too many hurdles at once, like none of us have legs that long, I especially don't have legs that long, you will trip and you might fall. But also remember that just because you trip doesn't mean you're out of the race. This isn't track and field. You aren't competing the same way with the person next to you. So even if you trip, you can still win. I know, I've tripped a lot. Second, enjoy the process and keep an open mind. You're here because you're innately inquisitive, and you're being given a gift of education, medical literacy, and clinical and scientific creativity. Soak it all in and see where the path takes you. It might be completely different and so much better than where you thought you wanted to be. Finally, and most importantly, if you remember nothing else from me talking for the past 5 minutes, please remember this. Do not underestimate yourself or your capabilities. Do not do it. Remember, you are here for a reason, and although at times you're going to feel stressed, overwhelmed, frustrated, and even utterly defeated, do not lose sight of whatever it was that led you here. Just because you've been underestimated does not mean you have to underestimate yourself. I'm sure by now you've all seen the little boat outside that says, "You know it don't come easy," and that is definitely true. But maybe the fruit at the top of the tree is the sweetest because you had to work that much harder to reach it. So that being said, welcome, good luck, enjoy it, you're going to do great, and congratulations.
Thank you, Dr. Solomon, for those self-deprecating yet, I'm sure, immensely inspiring words for our students here before us. So we're now going to St. George's University. We'll now present you with your white coat. So we're getting to the fun part of the ceremony. That symbolizes your entry into the profession and your commitment to uphold the duties and trusts associated with medicine and medical training. So I now ask our faculty from the School of Medicine to take the stage. And our quotas today include Dr. Tiffany Clemenson, Dr. Omnia Habura, Dr. Temitayo Alagbemi, Dr. Malcolm Antwine, Dr. Gabrielle Walcott-Bedeau, Dr. Rohan Cummings, Dr. Batsalvasam Petta, and Dr. Alina Wade. Dr. Carrie Mitchell, Assistant Dean of Student Affairs and Chair of the Department of Public Health and Preventive Medicine, will call each student by name and college. Those students who have with them today a physician, family member, or loved one will be quoted by those physicians. We ask that you please hold your applause until all students are quoted and to keep the aisles clear for the duration of the quoting. Also, a gentle reminder to our students to have your coat unbuttoned for the quoting.
I will now call on the students from Galen College to be quoted. Rodolfo Paez. Kelly Mutua. Duluksen Susithiran. Caleb Jurak. Tasha Danielle Godin. Alyssa Burke. Julia Matisish. Gabrielle Jean Gardini. Chanel Alyssa Rainey. Marknell Jean-Baptiste. Azwaru Islam. Brian Lawson. Joshua Yaofum Arjako. Brianna Aponte. Michaela Fletcher. Kivon Kur. Shelley Duarte. Hannah Cruz Garcia. Gusirit Kao. Janki Patel. Maria Chikvashvili. Komal Patel. Shivani Patel. Avni Patel. Rai, sorry. Darius Jones. Ashish Kaladini. Jar Mahari. Aditya Sharma. Lucy Steinmetz. Nicolette Canlian. Frida Wolf. Ayat Saba. Daniel Picula. Spencer Smith. Alan Herrera. Stephen Alexander Brownfield. Christopher Hartman. Hadika Mustafa. Veniza Reyes. Shri Sharakuru. Teresa Shibishan Varghese. Sahib Ali. Victoria Chebaibai. Sadia Rahman. Stephanie Gonzalez. Amira A. Bello. Lyric Deborah. Zaria Angela Iliana Todd. Anaya Marie Deshong Magruder. Craig Reichert Jr. Alexander Petrosian. Garrison Schaller. Annabelle Diaz Clavero. Taylor Karen Chambers. Arena Tariq Mushawi. Yan Hao Poon. I now call on the students from Hippocrates College to be quoted. Diego Macias. Victoria Caris Beaumont. Juliana Lozano. Olainka Ido. Yarleni Suarez Estevez. Joseph Stroll. Nathan Luke. Ben Toder. Saleh Talukder. Courtney Lonergan. Ali Yusuf Ibrahim. Wonwoo Lee. Alexander Gazzo. Quinn Roth. Yuvraj Sharma. Logan Hackinson. Jaya Sran. Jacob Lung. Mohammed Ali. Shant Faradian. Jason Preet Mann. Jonathan Infante. Adam Hartwell. Alina Tayab. Alexa Schlein. Sophia Chouinard. Sharir Shroudi. Roneem Abdul Wahid. Sahara ECSA. Anjali Deo. Mahika Chatterjee. Sanvi Patil. Emma Steinbuchel. Zyla Granillo. Mackenzie Lane Boyle. Madison Miner. Gabriela Garcia. Rustam Kudadzaza. Olufunmenere Adeyemi. Cipriana Luisa Rodela. Kiera Campbell. Lynn Tran. Michael Lewis. Vanessa Autry. Precious Brianna Igwabe. Dr. Tammy Taylor. Ahmed Seer. Mohammed Fatah. Mai Hang. Zainabu Gay. Adaya Wells. Aaliyah Evans. Pranay Rashid Karanam. Julia Lynn Fernari. Donatella Riddick. Mayank Ghosh. Anthony Garfinkel. Gabrielle Elfasi. Mariah Candace Cayley Hall. Oluwademilolola Esan. Amir Saeed. Jillian Greenberg. Shanik Lee. Thomas Bold. Abhishek Vade. Marissa Lubeck. Lauren Clark Beaver. Eric Skolanka. Hannah Waba. Rawan Moaz. Graham Nor Reese. Wyona Francis. Munira Farah. Kira Graham. Kennedy Adair. Pavaye Socrates. Simal Omer. Anvi Devi. Amari Todd. Gabe Smith. Tikva Cohen. Emily Gittelman. Michaela Furusan. Janaya Pickens. Akash Sharma. David Ospina. Arsalan Gushish. Robert Reyes. Maria Isabel Cejas Nunez. Kristen Fisher. Semini Jayasinga. Emma Burdick. Rafid Nur Chaudhry. Ambreen Orel. Jonathan Abdel Malek. Jacob Khalil. Nariah Drake. Caitlin Wright. Anya Khadija Bobbitt. Ifeinwa Jane Wabube. Micaiah McCrary. Kyla Makoge. Christopher John Cruz. Paula Baringanere. Serena Thomas. Joanne Miles. Donye Moore. Catherine Williams. Ramika Prasad. Nithya Shankar. Sejal Parsi. Lekana Simganseti. Ojaswini Suravanshi. Emilia Marsh. Umir Javid. Arman Correa. Vlad Marinescu. Marcela Lauren Botero. Arsh Dillon. Dominic Cole. Israel Quispe Ceballos. Shania Ryan. And John Tukmuji. At this time, we thank the School of Medicine faculty for their assistance in quoting the students. The following students will be quoted by their designee. Saad Mirza, quoted by Dr. Abrar Mirza, father. Dania Jones, quoted by Dr. Samantha Jones, aunt. Altone Lynn, quoted by Dr. Oral Waldo, uncle. Nikki Ghazi, quoted by Dr. Mahir Ghazi, father. Mohammed Sharef, quoted by Dr. Hoda Monib, mother. Gabriel Maximus, quoted by Dr. Bassem Maximus, father. Zareen Riza, quoted by Doctors Jahanara Riza and Dr. Sarkar, mother and stepfather. Sukaina Fatima, quoted by Dr. Sayer Hussein Aziz, father. Okay, good. Reshmi John, quoted by Dr. Reshma John, sister. Danielle Garzon, quoted by Dr. Henry Garzon, father. Alec Brown, quoted by Dr. Stephen Brown, father. Sarah Giroux, quoted by Dr. Anthony Arata, friend. Prem Patel, quoted by Dr. Megal Patel, uncle. Giovanna Dareen, quoted by Dr. Visani Dareen, mother. Joseph Barreiro, quoted by Dr. Christopher Barreiro, father. Jafar Dubga, quoted by Dr. Uswama Dabag, father. Asher Ajim, quoted by Dr. Ayo Ajim, father. Rachel Parent, quoted by Dr. Shawnette Bruce Owen, mentor. Mark Varallo, quoted by Dr. Mark Varallo, father.
It's so nice to see you all with your white coats. So again, I would like to extend my congratulations to the class of 2029. Woo! I would now like to introduce Dr. Anna Cyrus Murden. She is our Assistant Dean of Simulation and the co-chair of the Department of Clinical Skills, and also an SOM alumna. And she will lead you in the professionalism commitment.
Good afternoon. I would like to tap into one of the H's described by Dr. Clunas. That's happiness. So let me hear it in the good afternoons. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Well, it's my immense pleasure and my honor to seal the deal. So at this time, I want to invite the class of 2029 to please stand and recite aloud with me the professional commitment, which is located to the front of your program. I also would like to invite all the other physicians in the room to please stand as well and assist us. This professional commitment was written by a student task force in 1995 and revised in 2024, and has been recited at each of our School of Medicine's white coat ceremonies. Are you ready? Are you excited? All right, let's begin. Today is the beginning of my medical education and training as a physician. I acknowledge my responsibility to continue the pursuit of knowledge and understanding while recognizing the limits of my abilities and seeking assistance when necessary. I am entering training for a noble profession in which my interests must always be subservient to those who may seek my assistance. I must be ever conscious of the value of my fellow healthcare professionals and treat them with the respect at all times. My classmates at St. George's University are now my colleagues, and I owe to them the same support and encouragement to achieve the goals as I hope to receive from them. I will work alongside my colleagues and professors with tolerance, compassion, honesty, and cultural humility. I will treat all members of the St. George's community and its visitors with equity, regardless of rank, as I will do my future patients. I acknowledge my obligation to adhere to the University Honor Code and to conduct myself with integrity and in an ethical manner at all times henceforth. Taking full responsibilities for my choices and actions, I shall do all within my power to show in myself an example of all that is honorable and good throughout my medical career. It is a privilege to have been given the opportunity to become a physician. May I be ever conscious of that privilege and never abuse it. Congratulations to the class of 2029. Please be seated. Please be seated.
So we've come to the end of today's ceremony. And on behalf of St. George's University, I would like to thank the Arnold Gold Foundation for the Humanism in Medicine pins that have been placed on each student's white coat. Thank you, students, families, faculty, staff, administrators, and of course, our specially invited guests for your support and your presence in this ceremony. We ask that you please remain seated and keep the aisles clear until our faculty and students have exited as directed by the ushers. And when you are directed to exit, please use the side doors. Also, please keep the front of the room clear as we set up for our next ceremony. We would also like you to join us for a light reception in the open area of Modica Hall, just up the hill. And again, thank you all for joining us today, and my final congratulations to the class of 2029.